Now we're streaming live. Okay. So good morning, everybody. We wanted to let you know that we let us know if you're having any issues hearing us today. We want to welcome you to the Region D AGM. Thank you for attending our first virtual meeting. I want to let everybody know that this meeting is being streamed live on YouTube and it is being recorded. The recording will be available over for the next 14 days should you want to go back and listen to something that you may have missed or you need some kind of clarification. We're kindly asking you to please mute all devices as it picks up background noises and it could be disruptive to the other participants. So I'm going to keep my introduction short. First, I hope everyone is safe and healthy. These have obviously been challenging times for all of us personally and professionally. It's impacted soccer, our communities, and just our ability to serve overall as we would like. We have a full agenda and I hope to get through it as quickly as possible, giving everybody the opportunity to ask questions. We will have a Q&A session after each presenter, so please wait until that time to ask any questions. I wanted to say a quick thank you to our regional board members for all their help. We have Terry Straub, who is the elected regional commissioner out of the East, and Don Hart, the elected commissioner out of the West, as well as our appointed commissioners, Margaret Clark and Cara Davis. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off to our presenters. Our first speaker is going to be John Stacey, our president. So John, thanks for joining us. And let's go ahead and let you kick us off. Thanks.
Hey, thanks, Sandy. Really good to be with you guys today. I hope you're doing okay amidst not only the COVID virus, but also these tropical wave, I guess, it's coming through here. And I know yesterday in Pensacola, we got quite a bit of rain, and I'm sure it's hitting all of you as well. It's been an interesting year. Certainly capped off these last few months by COVID and all of the complications that have been related to that. It's not only been an interesting year, it's been an interesting 2 years as president of FYSA. We have tackled a number of major issues in my time as president. We sought to certainly rewrite the bylaws, a process that is ongoing today. We've dealt with significant risk management issues and insurance questions, and those are still ongoing, but we will have some good news on that, and Joel will touch on it briefly here in his presentation. The efforts that have been behind the scenes for most of the time, but trying to get an insurance policy to replace what we have now and to make sure that it has all of those protections that you desire, that you deserve, but at a cost that is not prohibitive. And it's a credit to Joel and his efforts, frankly, to that we have what we believe is a decent proposal, and that your board will be talking about tomorrow afternoon and finalizing those details. Risk management is a big topic. Again, Joel's certainly going to touch on it, but we do need your help as there have been some new guidelines published by the board. We feel very strongly that risk management definitely starts with the local clubs, that you guys embrace what we have put together and implement them fully. The biggest thing on the radar right now for me personally is the upcoming AGM. As you guys know, we're going to be doing a virtual meeting. It is going to be the most interesting AGM that I think anyone has ever been a part of, simply because it will be virtual and we will be seeking to do something that's never been done. 250 plus people, I imagine, will desire to have a voice, not only the ability to address the membership, but to, through voting and through rule changes and elections. There's going to be a lot going on. And so I'm focused on making sure that we're prepared for that meeting. It'll be 2 weeks from tomorrow. There will be a small group of individuals, myself included, that will be at the state office for that weekend. We will be running things from a command center style setup to make sure that we are able to address any issues that might come up during the meeting. Joel will touch on our engagement with e-ballot. We've got some test scenarios set up, some opportunities for the membership to become comfortable with the process. my last hurrah will be to make sure that that meeting runs as smoothly as possible. There are bound to be a few hiccups, but we're going to do everything we can to minimize those. And with that, I will say that if you haven't heard, which I can't imagine you haven't at this point, I have made the decision not to run for re-election as president of FYSA. This was a decision that was not easily made and is certainly bittersweet, but I concluded that I could not continue and sustain the amount of commitment of time and energy to this organization that it truly deserves. I think that there are others that will step up and will pick up that the mantle and will continue on. I am, been on the board since 2007. I will continue as past president, so I'll still have to be able to express my opinion and be involved to the extent that I can be, and to support the next president, whoever that is, to help them be successful in moving the organization forward. So I will miss some of the interactions I've had as a result of being president, but I hope to not, be out of the game altogether. I hope to continue to interact with you guys as we cross paths into the future. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Joel to share with you some information. If you haven't, a lot of you may not have met Joel directly or in person, but I know you've seen him on a number of opportunities through town halls. These last 7 months have been extremely challenging, and I believe that the organization is blessed, and I think the timing was perfect for us to bring in someone of Joel's caliber. His background with risk management, he's expert level on it, and had he not been in place, I don't think we would have been as successful as we have been in challenge, really going and rising to the level necessary for risk management. So, Joel, I thank you for your leadership, and I do have high expectations for you over the next 5, 10, 20 years with this organization, for as long as you choose to be part of it. I think you've done a great job and will continue to do so. So thank you for that. And with that, I'll hand it to you. You're on mute, Joel.
You're mute.
I can do 1,000 of these, and it still happens to me inevitably once per time. So, John, thank you very much for the kind words. In my short tenure with FYSA, starting in January, John has been nothing but professional and welcoming to me, and I thank him for his guidance and wisdom. I know he'll still be the go-to expert on the rules, who occasionally catches me in things that we have not done according to the rules or need to do within the rules. So thank you. Also from a larger level, I'd like to say in my time here at FYSA, we have an incredibly dedicated staff and board. The passion for soccer down here is truly unlike anywhere else. I've been lucky enough to work for 2 different U.S. youth soccer state associations, and Florida is truly unique in our approach to the game and our level of commitment. So credit to our board, who has met potentially more frequently in my 7 to 8 months here than I have met with most boards over the course of a year, doing things on very short notice, making really difficult decisions amidst COVID and coronavirus, and tackling some really difficult issues. The 15-mile rule, of course, the conflict of interest. These are big things that not just Florida struggles with. I bring that perspective from the Midwest and other states where these are big questions that I don't think anybody has the answer to, but credit John, credit the board for tackling those issues. And of course, I have to mention my staff. The FYSA staff is incredibly dedicated. Switching gears to a virtual work environment is not easy, particularly when we have a little bit more of that brick and mortar approach. But the staff has been very dedicated. They've been very busy. There's a lot to do without soccer being played on the field, which I find is a little funny, but it's been very challenging. So big credit to the staff as well. They've done a great job. To jump into a few of these topics I have here, I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. I'd like to first touch on the AGM webinar series. I hope a lot of you have been able to join the webinars over the course of the last couple weeks. We're doing 4 weeks of 3 nights of webinars every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 6 p.m. and 7:30. There's a different webinar that is offered by FYSA. This takes the place of those in-person breakout sessions that would normally be done outside of the AGM. However, we've really learned from the town halls and from the streaming of board meetings that this method, and partially through the lessons that we're learning from coronavirus, that this method of communicating with our memberships, this meeting, is really helpful and it's really impactful. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback. And really quickly here, I'm going to share with you guys a different screen on the FYSA website in case you guys have missed it. There is a site that we have. Sorry, I did not have it ready here, where you can register for any of the FYSA webinars, and it also lists the schedule. As I mentioned, we're about halfway in right now, but there is still 2 more weeks. There it is, sorry. There is still 2 more weeks. So this is on the FYSA website. It's under the AGM heading, and you can see down here the different topics listed. And you have to register for them. So it's a little bit different than Zoom meetings like this. You have to register, and then you will get the link, but it's a really quick process. You can still do it 2 minutes before the webinar starts. Once you register, fill in your email address, you will get the links. There's still 2 more weeks of these coming up, and there's some really important ones. Next week, we'll be talking about, let's see here, we've got a lot of the coaching ones coming up, the Region A DOC meeting. Really, you can attend any of these since they'll be virtual. We'll be talking State Cup, the tabled rules discussion from last year. Join Mike Flood to talk about what we've done since then. There's the college recruiting process and what drives winning with Siggy, which I think are going to be great sessions. And then, of course, the week leading up to the AGM, we have some of the most important ones. The proposed rules and bylaw changes for this year. I hope that there will be some really good open dialogue about the rules that have been proposed, which are available on the FYSA website. And hopefully the makers of those proposals will be there to further their rationale. And then, of course, the Thursday before the AGM is the candidate forum, where there really will be the opportunity to have some question and answer for all of the candidates. While we are on the topic of the AGM, I will talk about it. As John said, of course, we're moving virtual. I'll be very frank with everybody that it presents some challenges. We made the decision less than a month prior to the AGM, but our goal coming into it, and a goal that I'm positive that we're going to achieve, is being able to offer the same experience as a live AGM, but virtual. And with the plan that we have set forth, I really believe that we're going to be able to achieve that with the help of the board, with the help of the staff. We've got a great plan in place. So first and foremost, I'd like to just state that the AGM is going to be at 11 a.m. on Sunday, August 9th, as it was previously announced. Please join us. There is no fee. All it takes this year is a click of a button. So please feel free to join. We want the full membership to be involved in this, to vote on some very important things that we have this year, of course, including a presidential election, which you'll hear more about later. If you did book a room for Orlando, it's been canceled for you, but you might want to call the hotel to check. Marriott wants me to mention that. But the biggest thing around this, as John alluded to, is the voting. FYSA needed to ensure that we had the ability to facilitate a secure, instantaneous, and I guess the word is easy to use election, right? We need the results to be immediate. It needs to be secure. And we've embraced this company. We've entered a partnership with eBallot. eBallot is a vendor of ours now. I'd like to mention that they are doing the U.S. Youth Soccer annual general meeting later this afternoon. So we felt that good enough for U.S. Youth Soccer, and we'll be able to troubleshoot it a little bit based on their AGM this afternoon. All of the regular things that we could do in a live setting, we can do via e-ballot. That includes motions to motions, or amendments to amendments. That includes individuals running from the floor. This will enable us to do everything we want, including proxies. If you're not available that day, you can still put in a proxy ballot, and we will simply move those votes over. I want to echo something that probably went out to many of you yesterday. Mark your calendars for August 3rd. August 3rd at 6 p.m. Eastern. I apologize to you Central Time Zone folks, but that will be the practice voting, the practice balloting for e-ballot. That will essentially be the same scenario that we're going to go through the Sunday after. So make sure that you're available. Guys, it's super simple. You'll have a Zoom meeting call up like this, and then you'll have a web browser open where you'll have multiple ballots to vote on things. So you'll have to toggle a bit between the two, but we're very confident that this process is going to be very easy on all of you guys. I want to also mention there were some concerns about security and who's going to be running this in the background. This is run by a third-party company. I will not be calculating the votes. Nobody from the board will be calculating the votes. We received a lot of questions about that. So please know that we've put in a lot of effort to ensure that this runs smoothly, and we're very confident that it will. Moving on to coronavirus and COVID-19, the latest. I won't spend too much time on this. We've talked about it on town halls. We've talked about it on some of our more recent webinars. And I have to say that our position has not changed a whole lot. The May 22nd order of Governor Ron DeSantis sure took us for a bit of a loop. When he took off all restrictions for youth activities. We've really mirrored the governor's stance in that we are kind of taking a county by county, field by field approach. I don't need to tell anybody on this call that Florida is a large state geographically. The infection rate is very different, and we didn't feel it was right to hold back some folks up here, up by you guys in Region D, where Miami's still struggling. So if you're able to get back on the fields, we have return to play guidelines that should be followed. And additionally, FYSA has adopted the U.S. soccer phased approaches. It's called, they have their return to play guidelines as well. I will warn you that their phases don't necessarily match up to ours. They have 3 phases for their return to play guidelines, and it may not gel with where FYS or where the state of Florida is, and it may not gel with where Georgia is. Everybody has different phases. I've helped a few affiliates in interpreting what their county will allow and then give them the phased approach that U.S. Soccer recommends. Their guidelines are put out by their chief medical officer, Dr. Champus, and he has done the best job that I've seen. I've examined hundreds of different return to play protocols. I can't find anything in their return to play protocols that isn't provided for in there. So please take a look at those, post it on the front page of the website, and please contact us with it. The last point I'll mention on COVID is our waiver / hold harmless agreement. It's specifically about communicable disease. Starting August 1st, this will be required. Let me pause for the importance of that. Required for all members to have this form filled out for the participants. This will help protect our affiliates in the case that a lawsuit or litigation will come about. As we all know, a waiver is technically only as good as the paper that it's written on, but it will be very helpful if there's litigation and we need to defend ourselves. The board has taken the step to mandate it. We have put out both a PDF and a Word document. Some people have asked us about why is only FYSA mentioned on it. Frankly, that's because we carry the general liability. You will be covered with the PDF version we've put out, but we also recognize that some may feel more comfortable adding themselves in the Word document version. So feel free to use that, tweak it, recreate it digitally. A digital signature is obviously just as good as a wet signature. So make sure that you are getting that taken care of and signed. Again, starting August 1, when we lose our communicable disease coverage, that form is required. Can't say it enough. I will now, I'll provide an update on the insurance renewal process. And frankly, it starts with an apology. I know that many of you are used to having your updated certificates of insurance by now. I've never seen a renewal go this late. Just know that the delay in the renewal process has been in an effort to get you guys, the affiliates, the best coverage at the lowest rates. As we know, talking about the fee increase, which will come up under the treasurer's report, the reason that we've had to raise registration fees this year, $3 for rec, $4 for competitive, is because of the raise, the increased premiums that we're paying in insurance. I'd encourage people to look back on the webinar from last Wednesday. Myself, John, Jennifer Murphy from our office, as well as our insurance agents, Emmy Wilson, 24-year partner of FYSA, did a really deep dive into the insurance market, our renewal. This has been an exhaustive 4-month process to try to ensure that FYSA obtains the best insurance coverage at the best rates. I'll be very transparent, very open with you guys. 3 weeks ago, might have even been more, 4 weeks ago, we got an insurance renewal. We could have signed that day and everybody would have had their certs 3 weeks ago. That quote was closer to $1.5 million. That quote didn't provide the coverage that we had last year. By waiting a little bit longer, we have obtained 2 additional quotes that are much more reasonable, costs that will not have to be passed along to you as the members, and also provides much better coverage, much more similar to what we provided in years past. So I will say this is the most exhausting type of renewal that we've ever been a part of, but we're very, very pleased with the results and we appreciate your patience. I will commit to everybody on this phone call that by next week, you will have your certificates of insurance. I know that it's a stressful time. I know everybody needs them to get their fields, get on their fields, but just know that we saw some success in this process and we're very happy. Moving into the kind of the last item I have here, and it bridges nicely from the last one. Why did we get such an increase in insurance renewal? Yes, part of it's the market. Part of it is the state that we live in here in Florida. It's particularly litigious, as I've found out in this job, but it's because of our claims history. We have had a very difficult claims history. For anybody who was on the town hall about the fee increase knows, again, that's still posted on YouTube if you want to go out there and see the reasons, the backup behind the claims history. There's some real numbers for you guys out there to look at, but generally these insurance companies are looking at what your history is and how many claims you've had in relation to the premium. And I can tell you without diving deep, 18, 19, some of 19, 20, the year prior to that, 17, 18, these carriers were losing money in insuring FYSA. And we got a large increase last year on 19, 20 that was not passed along to the membership. And we got an even larger increase this year. Within 1 month of taking this job, I had an insider tell me I need to prepare for a 100% premium increase. That's a really difficult position to be put in. However, the main way that you can combat this is through risk management. Guy King, the president of Emmy Wilson, talked at length on Wednesday about the strides that we're making here at FYSA and how that can resonate in the premium that you'll pay going forward. So if we want to see lower premiums, if you want to see lower player registration fees, we need everybody to buy into the risk management changes that we've really made in the last 6 to 8 months. The new risk management policy is out there. I could not be prouder of this. I'm going to brag for a minute, but this is probably one of the most comprehensive policies I've seen out of US youth soccer state associations. 14 pages long. It covers our obligations, our federal obligations under the Center for Safe Sport. It covers our state obligations under the background check statutes and the concussion statutes. It handles our, even talks about things as little as proper goal celebrations. It talks about travel requirements. So much good information is in there. Some of it's recommended, some of it's mandatory. But however, we need you guys to help us with it. We need you guys to read this policy. We need you guys to understand this policy and to take risk management serious. It all leads back to the amount that we're paying. I'm going to address one question here that we've been getting from a lot of different people about, how come we can't just put this on those clubs who resulted in it. It's not that easy. Frankly, the clubs who might have got these claims, first of all, it's not one club that resulted in our premiums going up, it's multiple clubs. And secondly, there's absolutely no way to account for how much one club's claim resulted in a premium increase. And it really opens up a door that we're not willing to open. So I'm happy to take any questions on risk management. Please know the policy. The one final thing that I'll mention, and I apologize, Sandy, I'm talking for too long, but I'm very passionate about risk management, and I feel like we've made some great strides. The tip line. FYSA has advertised, I guess you could say, put out, procured a tip line for our membership. That was a deficiency that I feel like we had. There wasn't a avenue to report suspected child abuse, be it physical, mental, sexual. The tip line, and I'll put this in the chat box. First of all, it's available 24/7. The phone number is 866-607-7233. We're all mandatory reporters. I'm very confident that everybody on this is a mandatory reporter. I like to akin this tip line to the ads that you saw post 9/11 about if you see something, say something. If you're not comfortable going directly to the police yet, you're not sure if it rises to that, try this tip line first. Of course, if you suspect sexual abuse, you have to go to the police. That's part of being a mandatory reporter. However, this tip line is going to be a great source of information. It's not manned by FYSA. It's taken care of by a third-party company named Presidium, who we have a relationship with. They serve over 4,000 youth-serving organizations outside of sports. They're an industry leader, and they will have so many great resources for you. This is a great place to start, and we do receive all of the information anonymously. So I'll put this in the chat. And again, guys, I just can't thank you guys enough for all the things that you do, as well as I just really want to hammer home the risk management stuff. So I'm wide open for any questions. I pride myself on being accessible. I think almost everybody's got my cell phone number. If you want it, I'll throw that in the chat as well. Really try to be accessible to members. And I'm sorry that for many of you, this is the first time we're meeting via Zoom rather than in person. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Joel. So our next speaker is going to be Douglas Abrom. He's the Florida referee. He's going to give us an update on the referees. Sorry, Abrom, I can never remember what your title is.
It's no problem. Just don't call me late for dinner. Welcome. I hope everybody's safe. Like I said, and other things, everybody, families are safe from this crazy disease that we're going through in the state of Florida. Just to let you know, we're trying to straighten out the budget for referees and correct it. It's been a lot of information and people have been hearing a lot of stuff. Basically, it's been false, just to let you know. My budget guy is correcting our budget for the money we're spending for 2020. which is going to come out to approximately about 180,000, 190,000. We're getting our other budget ready for 2021. If anybody wants any additional questions or anything like that, I know we're pressed. Please don't hesitate to send me an email. I think I'll post my email and phone number in the chat. Anybody can call me, and I hope I can get everything straight there and then. Getting on to the debate right now on the line is fruitless, but my number is available in my email, and you can call me anytime and I'll respond to you. Unless anybody has any direct questions right now, I will post my information on the chat.
Thank you, Abram.
Okay.
And now Alice Smith, our state registrar.
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank Sandy and the Region D affiliates for allowing me to come on and speak to you this morning briefly. During this time that with our AGM not being in person with webinars, we have already went through 2 weeks, within the last 2 weeks, 3 different Got Soccer webinars. And the first one was regarding Got Sports, which is announcements for the new platform that we'll be moving to in the 21-22 season with Got Soccer. It's going to be a change there. It's going to be better. It's a lot of nice things on it. This past Thursday night meeting for the advanced registrars, they gave a very, very detailed, I would say, part A of that program. There's more to come. And rest assured that we're going to make sure all our affiliates are properly trained. We have committed with Got Soccer and the office staff that started the second Tuesday in November and every second Tuesday of the month through the month of April, May, or whatever long it takes, that we would have training where everyone can come on, ask question. If you don't get it the first time, you have the next Tuesday, and during that period of time, you can always email information in. We want to make sure our affiliates in this training, this platform going forward will be a smooth transition for the 21-22 season. We want all the affiliates to be ready to go come tryout time in April and in May, because really with the registrars, our work really begins in late May and in June, where everyone else may be taking time off. Our registrars are very, very busy this time of year, making sure that teams are being put together, getting ready for the opening day of the events registration with the state to be able to print passes on August 1. But because we're moving over to Got Sport, this new platform in 21-22, the old system, which Got Soccer will be referring to as the legacy system, will still be there. You will still be able to go back and look for items, look for people, look for information. It's not going away. It would always be there. And the reason why it's being there, we would like for you all to maybe clean up some of your information that's on the present day system for when it moves over. Everything in Got Sports will be clean. And therefore, we want to make sure that you will have the resource to go back and review it if necessary. And we did do a seminar already for our new registrars. You know, that was in an hour time frame, which is not always enough time. And we're always going to have people that feel like they can't answer the question. They don't want to ask the question because it may not seem a smart question. You can still ask that question, new registrars. You can send that information into Rosemary, myself, or Joel. We'll make sure Got Soccer get the information. But most importantly, Got Soccer can set up a webinar with your club, go into your system, walk you through steps within your club, and help you make sure that you're doing the right things as you go forward. So don't think that that 1 hour was the only time that you could get information. We're there. Rosemary is from the state office, myself, will be able to connect you with Got Soccer. I'll be able to answer questions with Got Soccer. One of the things I want to also stress is that do not call Got Soccer straight. Always call the state office and get the answer. Got Soccer works in all 50 states, various clubs and affiliates, so they may not give the information that pertain to FYSA. So start with the state office first, and then if it needs to go to any further, Rosemary or myself will refer you to Got Soccer, or we will contact Got Soccer and get the information for you. And during this period of time, I said we're getting ready. We're still in the old system for this year. One of the things I want to stress that we need to make sure we get our background checks. That means also our CDCs and our Safe Sport. As Joel said, alluded to with our insurance, we want to make sure that we are doing those things, the CD and the Safe Sport. Make sure that all your staff has taken the Safe Sport refresher or the new course if necessary. If that information doesn't link up with their account, if you do not if it does not link up at this time, make sure you send that certificate in to Rosemary. She will link it, so you will make sure that your coaches and managers will be properly linked to the correct team on August 1, which is coming up next week, where you'll be able to print your rosters and your passes. Basically, that's all I have for this year. I look forward to working with you again as your state registrar coming up in the 2021 season. And we look forward to a great year and new changes and new ideas coming forth. If you have any information that you want to add to the Got Sports there for the new platform, please send that information to Joel and myself so we can get it over to Got Soccer. Things that you've been wanting, not saying that they will be able to present it to you already, but we will make sure we can look into it. We are not the first state program that will be going over to this platform. So there's a lot of things that we would like to add, have already been requested from other states. So some of those things may be answered. So we just want to make sure that we cover that going forward. There will be no type of programming, very minimal, if any, but I want to say none in the old system. We're moving forward to making sure the Got Sports system will be what we need to work and be more efficient for our affiliates. I want to thank you all again. And if anyone have any questions, I'm here.
Thank you, Alice. Now, Eric Heidel is not here. He's our treasurer report. John Stacey, are you going to go ahead and speak on his behalf? I know he sent us some notes.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Thank you.
To do that. And, Eric definitely wanted to be here today, but just could not make it work with an unexpected family issue. First thing I want to mention is that on Wednesday, Joel, I believe it's Wednesday, August 5th at 5 p.m. Central Time, Eric will be doing a budget overview. So for those of you that want a deep dive on the budget for next year, he will be presenting that. Generally goes into all the behind the scenes stuff, comparisons to actuals, et cetera, and some of the assumptions behind the budget. He did, there is a plug in there for the expected insurance fee. He plugged in a number that, was based on the guidance at the time. There will be certainly a slightly different number as we get to the final resolution on this. The proposed budget's been on the website since early June. The budget also contemplates the new registration fees that were announced back on May 6th in the town hall meeting and also via email. The new fee will be for recreational soccer will be $13 per player. For competitive soccer will be $25 per player. That's a $3 increase on the rec and $4 on competitive. And again, those increases are tied to the insurance premium for this past season that we did not have in time and could not increase proactively. Insurance went up $300,000 last year. And again, that's the $300,000 is what's being captured by those increases in fees. We don't yet know what that final quote is going to be. We don't, tomorrow we'll kind of settle that. And then what happens next year, from a fee perspective, will certainly be up to the board. They'll have to decide that depending on what happens with the rule change that's been proposed. We'll have to decide that in the May, June timeframe, and we'll communicate, if we're able to, through a combination of cost reductions and management of our risk management, we may be able to hopefully put the board in a position to not have to worry about another increase, but it's certainly on the list of possibilities. Eric has been highlighting the revised financial policies. Early on in his tenure as treasurer, he proposed a number of policies around meal allowances and cost controls. In light of what we've been dealing with these past several months, Eric was challenged to come up with additional measures that could be used to reduce the cost. And so he worked closely with Joel to develop some guidelines and put in place, new financial policies that would, reduce both transportation cost and meal allowances. Long story short, meal allowances were cut by about 20%. The purchase of alcohol is no longer allowed by the FYSA policies. And also reduce transportation costs. Two measures done there. One was to reduce the mileage rate for volunteers of the organization from the business rate of 58 and some odd cents down to approximately 14 cents. That number is set by the IRS, and as a not-for-profit, we deemed that we were only required to do the 14 cents. That's only for board members and those elected to the board or serving in a volunteer role. Employees will be reimbursed at the higher business rate, as will independent contractors that are supporting ODP and other such things. There will, however, be a requirement that those independent contractors and our employees compare the cost of mileage reimbursement versus rental car, the rental car fee, as well as the fuel, to determine which is the most the cost-effective way of traveling for FYSA purposes. And they will, regardless, once that comparison's made, regardless of their choice, if they choose to drive their own vehicle, but a rental car would have been more cost-effective, their reimbursement will be limited to the cost of the rental car. So we're encouraging and requiring, frankly, that folks make the best decision, that is most cost-effective. Refunds and credits. This past, obviously we had to cancel State Cup, President's Cup, and some Commissioners Cup games. The refunds for competitive was around $250,000. We had additional refunds related to canceled ODP events in the neighborhood of $50,000, along with credits for future entries. The reimbursements to the members of this organization exceeded $500,000, and that was certainly a significant amount of money, but we were able to do so without having to dip into our reserves. And that is, I think, an important thing to keep in mind. The organization over the 45 years we've been in existence, we have had good financial and sound policies these past several years. And we are in a position where we have approximately $4 million in reserves, despite taking a beating in the market, as anyone has a 401k probably knows. We've had some runoff, but some of that we also have been able to recover. So the organization itself remains strong despite the challenges of COVID and these refunds. And the final thing that Eric wanted to touch on was that, our background checks. We often have been criticized for what seems to be an exorbitant fee for the background check. Over these past several months, we came to the realization that our primary competitor was only charging $18 every 2 years. And we questioned that because Florida state law requires that background checks be run every year, and that the background check include an FDLE level 1 background check. We found out that that the competitor was not doing the FDLE check. And so if you begin to dig into that, and you find that their $18 every other year fee did not include the statutory required background checks. So just doing some math now, they're going to be charging, starting this year, $30 per year for that background check. And we're not yet sure whether they'll do the $18, but even at half the 18, comes out to $39 per year. We're charging $40 as we've been, and we're not increasing our fee. So we feel like that we have been doing the right thing and have been spot on the cost of that those background checks. And finally, Eric wanted to highlight the PPP payroll protection program. FYSA did apply and was approved for a $177,000 loan this past, I guess it was April timeframe. That infusion of cash allowed us to not to reduce staffing or reduce payroll in any way, and also allowed us to address some of our operational costs. We do expect full loan forgiveness because we have met the criteria required by the government. And so that's $177,000 that thankfully we were able to take advantage of. Eric, again, will be presenting the budget in full in the upcoming session a week and a half from now. So I would encourage you to join there. If you want to hear his comments directly on these topics, you certainly can also go out to the Region A or Region B AGM videos that were posted on YouTube. So that's all. That's all of his notes. Happy to field any questions you may have, and if I can't answer them, I'll certainly take them back to Eric and get an answer.
Thank you, John. So our next presenter is Daragh Cullen. He is our VP of Player and Coaching Development.
Hey, Sandy. Morning, everybody, Region D. Hope everybody's well. First and foremost, thank you so very much for allowing me to serve. As you know, I'm new to the board, came on there in August of last year, and what a year it's been. It's been mental, to be honest with you. I'd say the first few months there, when I first came on board, my primary focus, of course, was ODP, trying to wrap my head around it, to be more involved in it, to see if we could find ways to tell our story. I was able to attend several ODP events along with Southern Regionals, which was held there in Auburndale, which was excellent. Of course, all of our Florida teams all performed very, very well, as expected. And it was a fun event. It was a lot of fun. I was able to actually work with a group of 5 girls, which was a lot of fun too. And then it was like after that, the lights went off. So everything with regards to the coaches committee, the recreational committee, the TOPS committee, and any other committee that I've been involved in has all been, of course, now virtual as we are now. But there are some exciting things happening within all of the committees. The recreational committee, we can look forward to the U.S. Soccer Roadshow. And then, of course, the Regional United Cup, which I'm very excited about. As for the clubs and the technical directors and DOCs, we are going to have, I think Joel had kind of put a slide up there. It's on the website. Thursday, July 30th, Region D, 10 a.m. to noon. So that's going to be, again, our coaching department has put together an excellent PowerPoint there, webinar for us. So we're going to go over coaching education, the grassroots. We're going to talk about ODP, pretty much kind of break it down for you. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the recreational programs. And then, of course, player development. So looking forward to being on that call, and hopefully I'm sure some of you will join as well as. Thank you.
Thank you, Daragh.
Thank you.
Greg Zach is our VP of competition. Greg, you're muted.
Okay, now I'm all set. Thanks, Sandy. I noticed I do see a couple familiar faces, but anyhow, this has been one hell of a year. Thank you for the opportunity to serve, as part of the competition for the past year, and I'm hoping that some of these guidelines and procedures from COVID will be relaxed a little bit, or maybe a vaccine to where we can get back to normal, or the new normal. certainly this past year has been nothing less than the most challenging time I've ever had in 47 years of coaching and working with various boards. The landscape and competition of soccer in Florida is like no other. It's ever changing. And unfortunately, again, the COVID issues have, stopped a lot of good things from happening. Haven't had the opportunity to get to a State Cup or President's Cup match finals to attend and enjoy. But I do want to thank you, though, to those clubs who did step up to volunteer their time, resources, and fields to make those competitions and Commissioner's Cup competition a reality. Obviously, without those contributions and those people, nothing could have been scheduled or completed. The competition staff in the state office, is to be commended for their hard work because their agenda changes pretty much weekly, and the countless hours and professionalism which they dispatch their duties. As we move forward this coming year, I'm looking forward to come up and implement some type of significant contributions to the game here, and mostly because it's been extremely difficult in trying to get buy-ins from affiliates, special interest groups, leagues, and of course, trying to understand and navigate the egos of everybody in this state, the personalities, and again, the special interest groups. I've never seen anything like this before. And it's taken this whole year to just to understand where everybody sits and what their issues are or what their wants are. I would hope, I know I don't know what I was on the Florida High School Athletic Association meeting as to their status of their competition. And they're pretty much going to go with a county by county deal where, if your numbers and your percentages are down in Region D, your high schools will probably defer to the county Board of Ed, and you will probably, it probably won't hurt soccer in high school, being as though it's a winter sport. Right now they're addressing football and volleyball, and I think they believe they're looking at an August 24th date to come back, but yet they still haven't come up with any procedures in order for those teams, in those counties to come back, and whether it's going to be just training and or there'll be actual competition. So I really do hope that this year that we find that somebody finds a vaccine, we can get back on the pitch, and hopefully we can all come together in this adversity and try to make soccer in Florida exciting, relevant, meaningful, and where it needs to be. If you have any questions, please. I'm here. I'm here to field them.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Sandy.
So hi. So our next speaker is going to be Jill Hartley. Everybody's familiar with who Jill is.
I just wanted to start out with thank you all for attending. The big question we've been getting lately is competition and refunds and vouchers. All refunds have been processed by the state office. The clubs should have received all those. So we are deferring teams to their clubs to inquire about that. If you had not submitted a request by May 25th, all of those have been turned into vouchers. Those are currently being created, and that will also be sent to the individual clubs. These vouchers are used similar to a credit card. You just type in the actual voucher number and it will pop up to pay for the tournament. They can only be used once. So if by accident you give a team the same, you know, a duplicate, it's going to bounce back on you that there aren't any funds. We will have a record of all of those. So if you have any issues, please call us, or, you know, right now, email is probably the easiest to get a hold of us. And we can work that out with you. Just know that we are not accepting any refund requests now. That link was up for a good 3 weeks and blasted out several times. There are some clubs that are disappointed about that, but we do need to move on to the new season. The next bullet point, FSPL and Sunshine have elected to delay their start till September 12th. They held an emergency meeting to determine this. What will happen now? There are several, obviously your region is in good shape. Region A is struggling. Not many of them have even been able to put together teams. So the commission decided to extend the date till July 30th to apply for any FSPL or Sunshine. So I will say Lee Blemon did an awesome job this year of getting clubs to join. So you guys will have some local versus local matches that obviously can be played earlier than the rest. So the plan is on July 30th to stop the applications. I'll begin scheduling. We will open the schedule up on August 12th. And once that's open, teams will be encouraged to move them off the event style dates. We have the date for September 12th will be there. If Region D teams think that they can play earlier and have the consent from their counties, those games can be moved without penalty. New this year for our competitions is the U20 group. Due to USYS letting this age group continue because of the COVID and they didn't get their season, that will be available in FSPL and Sunshine, additional to State Cup. State Cup will have a 19-20 group. President's Cup will have an 18-19 group. So they're adding one age group to each competition. And it's a combined group, not a single out group. So just know that. COVID updates and changes, FSPL and Sunshine, and also our cups for FYSA. We have adopted that teams and parents will sit on the same sidelines to avoid a mixture of different germs from different areas. So that is new for this year. We had a request from Region A to tweak that a little bit to say that parents have to be 10 feet away from the center, away from their team bench. So the commission will be looking at that next week. I don't see that as an issue. There's also a request that the AR is in front of the players' benches and not parents. We are requesting that you sit 10 feet away from the touch line to allow those referees the ability to run freely and safely because they will not be wearing masks. All other things, you know, we will not be at these fields. So we are looking to these clubs to help enforce some of this. Know that the referees have the ability to say, we don't feel safe. So keep that in mind. Obviously they'll contact us before, you know, putting a game off, but please keep in mind, they're trying to keep safe also. They don't have masks. Please don't get in their faces. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Jill. So next up, we're going to do a meet the presidential candidates. We're going to go ahead and start off with Marino. We normally do this in alphabetical order, but Marino's going to have to probably exit a little bit earlier from the meeting since he's got another meeting coming up. So we're going to go ahead and let Marino go first. Marino, go ahead. Thank you.
Oh, how you doing? I'm sorry, I was having trouble muting myself. Well, that's I think most of you know I'm Marino Torrance. I'm the past president of FYSA before John. I decided to come back and run again because I still have the desire, the fire, and the time to work for FYSA, to try to do what's best for the sport of soccer in the state and for the kids, which is basically what we're all here for. I've been serving for the last year on the UF Youth Board of Directors, also with the appeals committee for the US Soccer. Yeah, I will have to, if I'm lucky enough to be your next president, I will have to step down from that UF Youth Board and dedicate my time fully to FYSA. I believe that at this time I'm the right person for the job because of the experience, not only here locally in Florida, but with the regional and the national offices. And I'm willing, again, those that know me from the past, they'll put the time and the effort to make sure that we're doing the right thing for the kids. And that's what I decided to run again. Thank you.
Thank you, Marino. Does anybody have any questions for Marino at this time? Hearing none, we're going to go ahead and let Daragh Cullen.
Thank you, Sandy. So good morning again, Region D. First and foremost, I hope and pray that you are all well in these unprecedented times. I thank you all for all you do and continue to do for your clubs, leagues, and members. I would also like to say a special thank you to Sandy, Dawn, and Terry with a Y for all they do for our board and your region. I'm Daragh Cullen, your current VP of Player Development for FYSA, and I'm running for the president of FYSA at the upcoming virtual AGM. Given these uncertain times, now more than ever, FYSA needs stability, experience, and strong leadership to take FYSA forward. Given my extensive background of being a president of a club, a VP of a state, your current VP of Player Development, a director of a tournament, I've represented our state on a national level. I'm a nationally licensed coach and a current player and a father of 4. I'm confident that I'm the right choice. I have the time and, more importantly, the energy and the passion to lead FYSA. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Daragh at this time? So we're going to go ahead and hear from the next one. It's Kai Velmer. Go ahead, Kai.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you for having me. My name is Kai Velmer. I'm running for FYSA president. My background, I've coached and been involved in recreational soccer, competitive soccer, high school soccer, college soccer, and also been involved on a professional level. Currently the director, the technical director of the Tampa Bay Rowdies WPSL team, and have served in capacities such as director of coaching and currently on the admin side as a director of operations. I have laid out a 14-point plan, which you can see at my website at kai4fysapresident.com. Also, along with 3 podcast episodes. I think, and in my opinion, that we need to have a plan, have a vision for FYSA, and have FYSA, as our association work for the betterment of the game, the players, and its membership. And with that, that's why I laid out the 14-point plan to enhance communication. Currently also hot topic is going to be to revisit the 15-mile rule, which I'm not a supporter of the 15-mile rule. I believe that besides being, I think, as we all know now, being in violation with our own bylaws, I don't think it serves the game. I think we should have criteria instead of just a mileage rule. So I still am in agreement with many members that we shouldn't just allow any person who just finds a piece of grass and has 2 fields to just join. I think we got to make sure that things are in place, that they have a structure, they have a board, proper field location to make sure that ensure the safety of the children. And then, tryout rule reform. I think that's another thing we need to work with membership on. We keep battling that situation and look at different options. Rewrite of the bylaws that is currently happening. We still need to get with that. Continue our focus on recreational soccer. One of the things are growing girls soccer and women in coaching. I know a lot of places in the state are seeing a decline in numbers, and I think that we should help facilitate, if we can, as an association, to build a committee to see where we can help grow the women's game, the girls' game in our state. Create a diversity and inclusion committee as well. A big thing also is to review the statewide league structure. We have a lot of leagues in our state right now. It's saturating the competition, and see if we can bring all the leagues together work with our state leagues that we have, and see if we can, again, for the betterment of the game, to come together and bring those leagues together, where you can start a local league and work yourself up into the regional and national competition, and see if we can make that happen. And that will also provide value to our local leagues who are affiliates and currently feel that FYSA is competing against them. So there's support for referees. I currently would like to see what is FYSA's role with FSR. I think that needs to be communicated much better to the membership, and see how we can help that, and how we can improve in that situation in our partnership with FSR, because refereeing is currently obviously we've seen a decline of refereeing. And then another point is engaging with the professional organizations, reaching out to all the creating a pro soccer committee to work with our DOCs and assistant DOCs. But those are just some of the points. You can see all of that on my website, the complete 14-point plan. And if you need anything else, just reach out to me. I'd love to have a conversation with you and discuss the points.
Thank you, Kai. Does anyone have any questions for Kai at this time? Or for any of the other candidates? Okay, so Joel, let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Thank you, everyone.
I did have one thing. I punched in Kai's website there, then Darren posted his info. Marino, if you could post your contact info in the chat group, that'd be really helpful, I think.
I will not. I will right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we currently have elections in the our region, obviously. The first one that we have coming up is going to be the elected regional commissioner for the East, that is currently being served by Straub. We don't have anybody else who has stepped up. Does anybody have any nominations you want? We can take some from the floor if anybody has anyone who's interested in from the East in serving. Anybody? Okay, so it is uncontested at this time. We did not receive any mail-in ballots either, or emailed in ballots or nominations from anyone else. So we're going to go ahead and congratulate Terry on winning his election, and we look forward to having you serve for 2 more years, Terry.
Well done, Terry.
All right, Joel, I'll let you handle the next one.
Yeah, we're just we're at questions and answers.
No,
Sandy,
we're not.
Where are we on?
You have to elect me.
No, yours is at the AGM.
Okay, I didn't think so, but all right.
I'm certain. We haven't done any of the other ones, I will say.
Yeah. Sandy, you at the big one. You have to be at the big one.
I have to be the big one. Okay, all right.
I nominate Sandy.
Second.
All right.
I mean, Terry got elected without even getting nominated. I don't know how that really worked. Sandy,
We do things differently in Region D, okay?
Okay.
Hey, and I'm from Region A. I can close nominations. And Terry, Sandy, you're at Jake.
Thanks. All right, so anybody have Q&As? We're gonna go ahead and let you, we'll open up all the unmuted and you guys can just ask questions if you'd like. Anybody? No questions? Come on, Andy.
Wow. Best regional AGM,
Yep.
hands down.
Yes, it is. Okay, so I guess nobody has any questions.
Well, actually, I was going to ask, I think Cara could tell us how's things going over there in that new facility in Panama City. Have they gotten back to normal?
I don't know. I think Cara got booted off, actually. Are you back on, Cara? Can you unmute? There you go.
Yeah, it was saying the host wouldn't let me unmute. I thought you were blocking me, Sandy.
Joel had us all blocked for a minute.
That's right. That was why it was the best AGM, because we were all quiet. No,
You guys were making too much noise in the background.
yeah. Things are going well here. The complex has been a great asset. There's been tons of activity going on there, not all soccer related, but certainly some soccer related. There's a like an All-American series coming up this coming next weekend. So I think it's been awesome. It's great for, we've been able to practice and have plenty of space for social distancing. And we're very happy and very blessed to have it here in the community and to have it as our home fields. Merrick, would you add anything to that? There you are.
Yeah. Thank you, Sandy. Yes, I agree with Cara. It's a blessing to have those fields. We are very lucky. We had a lot of rain recently, so we moved back to the turf fields. When the weather is better, we can go on the grass fields. So yeah, this is great.
Sandy? Hello?
We can hear you, Terry.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Is Sandy muted now?
Well, Catherine said I should have drafted an acceptance speech over this dubious honor and hopefully at some point somebody will research, the validity of the election since I wasn't nominated. But I have another thought about that I won't share. But I really wanted to talk about John Stacey.
No.
You get it. No, I've got some notes from Kim. I want to thank John for so many things. I'm very disappointed he's not standing for re-election, but I certainly understand his thoughts on the issue. But notwithstanding, he's one of the great individuals that I've run across in soccer. But his desire to move FISA into the 21st century should not be overlooked. There's been some snipers out there around the state that I wholeheartedly disagree with because, FISA needed to move forward. And under his leadership, we've done that. And, but I personally want to thank him for the long service he's given to, not only our region, but Florida as a whole, the time he's put in and the way he has conducted himself as what I would call a pure gentleman. And John, I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, as well as Catherine, for your service. And we will, in fact, really miss your leadership and you as an individual. And one last thought, I really think you need to give those 50,000 points from Marriott back, or at least redistribute those to to Catherine. But that's an inside joke for the rest of you. But thank you, John.
You're welcome, Terry. Thank you.
You're here.
Yeah, could I say a word on that as well, if I could? I've now been unmuted, which is very rare, but I appreciate it, whoever did that. Yeah, I'd like to express my appreciation as well, because I've known John a long time, and just as Terry has, we've been involved probably 35 years in Region D. And for the new people, with a lost long family out here, but we've come a long way. Like everybody else, we have some severe challenges to face. I will share with everybody right now in Leon County, we are not in a position to be playing soccer, and the numbers aren't going in the right direction. So I'm crossing our fingers. To give you an idea of what our membership has indicated very clearly, we put out a fairly extensive list of questions from our membership, and we were in a position right now where we've got about 55% of our membership that are confident or would be comfortable playing here at the end of July. But we have a very firm 25 to 26% who do not want to participate in contact sports until the school gives us an indication of what they're doing. And Terry will tell you, living in Leon County, we have no idea right now what our school system's doing. So we're all flying blind. I do appreciate on a personal level the cost factors regarding playing soccer in our region exploded about 2 years ago. And again, we as an organization decided that we would take a budgetary review to our competitive program, which we did last year. And I will tell you that this year we stayed within our budget. The year before, we were 52% above budget due to additional travel and expenses. So these are factors that we as a service organization are going to continue to look at. And I certainly do appreciate the communication, the online, I think has been excellent. And I think, moving in the right direction. So, John, good luck to you. I know you're not retiring. Past presidents tend to get a lot of work. So good luck to you and thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
Anyone else? You can unmute yourselves now. Joel went ahead and removed the mute. So if anybody has any questions and you're muted, you can go ahead and unmute yourselves and ask questions. Okay, seeing as we don't have any questions, we're going to go ahead and wrap up our AGM. Again, thank you everybody for participating today. I just want to remind you guys of a couple of quick webcasts that are coming up. One of them is that e-ballot training that's coming up for our annual AGM. That's going to be held on Monday, August the 3rd at 6 o'clock Eastern time. So that's 5 o'clock Central. We also have a candidate forum that's going to be held via webcast also on Thursday, August the 6th at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. We also, I also wanted to remind everyone to please get with your clubs, do your background checks, your CDC and your safe sports training for the upcoming year. You are required, several members of your individual boards of your clubs are required to have those background checks completed before the reaffiliation process takes place for the upcoming annual AGM. So you probably need to get started on those if you haven't already done those. They do take a little bit longer than they did in past years, as you're aware. The other thing is we need to know if anybody has in your regions, actually not your regions, but in your part of the region, either east or the west, if you have anybody who is interested in participating as an appointed commissioner, we'd like to be able to rotate those just so that we have different opinions, different things are that are coming up within those particular sides of the region to have a voice. So if you have anybody you'd like to have appointed, please have them reach out to me or send me their information so that I can reach out to them. And FYSA always has committees every single year that we put together that we're required to have people from our region participate. So if you have anybody who's interested in participating in any one of those various committees, you can look up those committees on our FYSA website and have them reach out to me, because after the annual AGM, we're going to be needing to appoint people for those standing committees. Again, thanks everyone for participating, and we look forward to seeing everybody at the annual AGM virtually on August the 9th. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Region D.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
Sandy.
Stay safe.
Thanks, guys.